This is the story of Q from Day26, who recently came forward with disturbing allegations about what happened to him while working under Diddy at Bad Boy Records. The former boy band member claims he was drugged at Diddy's Hamptons mansion around 2010. An incident, he says, triggered mental health issues that have followed him for over a decade. With Diddy now serving a prison sentence following his federal trial, Q has been vocal about experiences he describes as sacrificial, sharing both testimony and video footage that he says proves something deeply wrong happened that night. Before we get into the allegations, let's establish who Q is and how he ended up in Diddy's orbit. August 26, 2007. 5 young men stood on stage during the season finale of MTV's Making the Band for Robert Curry, Brian Angel, Willie Taylor, Quanell Q Mosley, and Michael McClooney had just been selected by Diddy to form a new R&B group, and they took their name from that very date. Bad Boy Records signed them immediately with Diddy as their mentor, and the success came fast. Their debut album, simply titled Day26, dropped on March 25, 2008, debuted at #1 on the Billboard 200, and moved 190,000 copies in its first week. The second album, Forever and a Day, released on April 14, 2009, and also hit #1. Day26 looked like they had everything from the outside: chart success, a powerful mentor, and the kind of visibility most artists spend years trying to achieve. But according to multiple group members, once the cameras stopped rolling, the support vanished. Brian Andrews from Day26 explained the situation this way: just the way the whole thing was set up. Like, even from the contracts, the way it was structured when the cameras were gone, it was like, alright guys, it was nice knowing you. Radio became another obstacle. Robert Curry said Day26 had a hard time breaking into radio because people believed the group was a gimmick for TV. And Willie Taylor added, people really didn't give us the chance for us musically. December 2009 brought Q's departure from the group due to conflicts with management. Day26 eventually disbanded in 2012, but according to Q, something happened during those years under Bad Boy Records that would change his life forever. February 2025 brought Q to Vlad TV for an emotional interview where he referenced a disturbing email he received during his time with Bad Boy Records. Whether the email came from Diddy himself or from Roger Bonds, Diddy's former head of security, he wasn't entirely sure, but the content shook him to his core. Q explained, I saw some things in a personal email that threw me off guard. It felt very scary and weird, to the point where I ran to get help. I spoke up with my family because I was like, if this is true and I come up missing or dead, I want you guys to know what I'm going through. The tone of the email came through in chilling terms. I'll keep it very short. Things felt very sacrificial. I don't want to sound like I'm a conspiracy person, you know, because I'm not, but when you're under a power, man, it's just, I can't go into details now. But sir, I'll tell you, it felt like some sacrificial stuff was going on. Man, Q declined to reveal the exact contents of the email or provide specific details about when it was sent, but he referenced it again when discussing recent public displays of emotion, saying, I understand you're crying now off the trauma that you've seen. But what about the trauma you put me through when I read that email? That email, whatever it contained, disturbed Q enough that he felt the need to alert his family in case something happened to him. And it wasn't the only incident that left him traumatized. Around 2010 at Diddy's mansion in the Hamptons, New York, the alleged event that Q says changed his life forever took place. This was during the recording sessions for Diddy's album Last Train to Paris, and Q was dating Don Richard, who was part of Diddy's group Diddy Dirty Money alongside Kalina Harper. May 24, 2025 brought Q to Aubrey O'Day's podcast covering the Diddy trial, where he detailed what he says happened that night. Q recalled being at a studio session with Don Richard, Diddy, and Kalina Harper when Diddy extended an unusual invitation. So Diddy's like, I think he was very, very high. He's like, we're gonna go to the Hamptons. We're gonna stay the night there and you guys gonna come. And it felt very weird. Once they arrived at the Hamptons residence, Q claims Don Richard approached him with a red pill, and he says Richard told him the pill was ecstasy and that Diddy had instructed her to give it to him. Q put it this way, I took it because I was about to get freaky with my girlfriend. You know, we tried ecstasy before. I trusted her that that's what it was. So I took it, and she had one too. He gave her 2 of them. 20 minutes after taking the pill, he blacked out, and when he regained consciousness, he found himself in a bedroom belonging to Diddy's twin daughters, Delilah and Jessie Combs, surrounded by people who were laughing and recording him. The moment came back to Q like this. I began screaming as soon as I regained consciousness. It felt very sacrificial. That's what I meant when I said I felt like they were trying to hurt me. Or Diddy was maybe trying to sacrifice me. A December 2024 Instagram post from Q clarified what he believes was in that pill. The pill they gave me wasn't it was a horse tranquilizer pill. This shit put me in mental health. I have to see a therapist every month. December 13, 2024 brought video footage to Q's Instagram that he says is from that night in the Hamptons. The clip shows Q apparently asleep or unconscious when Don Richard, Diddy and others approach him, laughing as Diddy gets into the bed with Q, who appears startled and disoriented as he wakes up. His shirt is visibly soaked with sweat. What the video does and doesn't show matters here. The footage captures the moment Q is being filmed and woken up, and it shows he's clearly disoriented. But it does not show the alleged drugging, the pill being given to him, or what happened in the time leading up to that moment. The video supports that something happened that left Q in a confused state, though it doesn't independently verify his account of being drugged with a horse tranquilizer. For Q, the video represents proof that he was in distress and that the incident wasn't just something he imagined or fabricated. Don Richard didn't stay silent after Q's allegations went public. May 25, 2025, one day after Q's podcast appearance, brought a statement from her on X, formerly known as Twitter, though she later deleted it. Richard's statement read, "I want to be unequivocally clear. I have never drugged anyone, nor have I ever given anyone pills to take. The suggestion that I did so is categorically false. If such a belief were genuine, it would be inconsistent with the actions that followed, such as inviting me into your home, introducing me to your younger sisters and family, and continuing a relationship with me." Her defense rested on the idea that if Q truly believed she had drugged him, he wouldn't have maintained a relationship with her afterward or introduced her to his family. The situation got more complicated when Jordan, Diddy's former chef, weighed in on social media defending Don. Shaitan claimed to have been present during the Hamptons trip. "I was in LA for a lot of stuff that happened, and I was also in New York and the Hamptons with Don and Day26. A lot of shit. The trip where? After that, Q lost his mind and he was never really the same. I was in the Hamptons." Q responded by claiming the chef was lying about being present during the specific incident he described. Directly conflicting accounts leave us with this. Q says Don gave him a pill that incapacitated him and changed his life. Don says she never gave anyone pills, and a third party claims to have witnessed something that affected Q. But Q disputes that person's presence during the key moment. Asterisk, something shifted dramatically in Q's life around this time, and that's not in dispute. 2012 brought diagnoses of schizophrenia and bipolar disorder. 2 years after the alleged Hamptons incident, Q has been open about these diagnoses and what he believes triggered them, stating, "Yeah, there was definitely something done to me to make me go into schizophrenia and bipolar. Of course, because I was a college student. I was a high honor roll student in high school." His point comes through clearly. He was a high-achieving student with no apparent history of mental illness before this period, and he sees a direct connection between what happened at the Hamptons and his subsequent mental health struggles. To this day, Q sees a therapist every month to manage these conditions. The mental health impact has been long-lasting, and according to him, directly stems from his experiences working under Diddy. Asterisk Q's specific allegations about the email and the Hamptons incident were never part of the federal case against Diddy, but the trial did paint a picture of a man who allegedly used his power in disturbing ways. September 16, 2024, brought Diddy's arrest in Manhattan, facing charges of racketeering conspiracy, sex trafficking by force, fraud, or coercion, and transportation to engage in prostitution. His trial began on May 5, 2025, and lasted 8 weeks. Cassie Ventura, Diddy's ex, testified at trial and described drug-fueled encounters called freak-offs or hotel nights. Prosecutors alleged that Diddy exploited his status as a powerful music executive to force Cassie and other women to participate in these events with sex workers, encounters that sometimes lasted days. Cassie testified that during these events, Diddy would order her to do things with other men that she found humiliating, and when things didn't go his way, he would beat her. Another witness, identified only as Jane, testified about similar experiences during her relationship with Diddy from 2021 to 2024. July 2, 2025 brought the verdict. Judge Arun Subramanian found Diddy not guilty of racketeering, conspiracy, and sex trafficking, but guilty on 2 counts of transportation for the purposes of prostitution. October 3, 2025 brought sentencing. 4 years and 2 months in prison, a $500,000 fine, and 5 years of supervised release. The Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn currently holds Diddy, and according to Federal Bureau of Prisons records, his expected release date is May 8, 2028. Accounting for time served during his pretrial detention, Q's allegations are separate from the freak-off pattern described in Diddy's trial, and that matters. Those allegations centered on female victims, and there is no verified evidence that Q was involved in those events, or that he was, as some sensationalized headlines have suggested, used by other men. Asterisk December 2, 2024, brought Sean Combs' The Reckoning to Netflix, a documentary that featured interviews with 4 Day26 members, including Q, along with Aubrey O'Day and other Making the Band contestants, sharing their experiences. Diddy's legal team called the documentary a shameful hit piece and claimed footage was stolen. But for the participants, It represented an opportunity to finally tell their stories without the filter of Bad Boy Records or MTV's editing room. The documentary dropped while Diddy awaited trial, and it contributed to a growing public conversation about power dynamics in the music industry and the lasting trauma that can result from exploitation. For Q specifically, the documentary was part of a series of public appearances where he's been vocal about his experiences, giving interviews to Vlad TV, appearing on The Breakfast Club in February 2025, and speaking extensively on Abrio Day's podcast about the Diddy trial. Day26 has also reunited, releasing an album called Day1 in August 2024 and performing together, though the shadow of their Bad Boy Records experience still looms large. Asterisk, after examining all the available evidence and testimony, here's what we can say with confidence. An email arrived during Q's time with Bad Boy Records that deeply disturbed him, describing it as sacrificial in nature, though he never disclosed the exact contents, and we don't know whether it came from Diddy or Roger Bonds. An incident occurred at Diddy's Hamptons home around 2010 where Q ended up disoriented and was filmed while in that state. Video footage confirms people were laughing and recording him, and that he appeared confused and distressed. 2012 brought Q's diagnoses of schizophrenia and bipolar disorder, and he continues to receive mental health treatment monthly, directly attributing these conditions to his experiences during this period. Don Richard categorically denies giving Q any pills or drugging him. Diddy has not specifically responded to Q's allegations, though he has maintained innocence on all criminal charges through his attorneys, and he was ultimately convicted only on prostitution-related transportation charges, not the more serious sex trafficking or racketeering charges. Here's what remains unveiled. Whether Q is actually given a horse tranquilizer versus ecstasy cannot be confirmed. That claim comes solely from Q, and there are no medical records or independent verification publicly available. The exact content of the sacrificial email or the specific date it was sent cannot be confirmed. Whether the incident was intentionally harmful or, as Don suggests, a situation that Q misinterpreted or misremembers cannot be determined. What triggered Q's mental health diagnoses has no independent verification, only his statement that he believes it was connected to this incident. Asterisk, what happened to Q in the Hamptons remains a story with disputed facts and conflicting testimonies. Don Richard says she never drugged anyone. Q says he was given something that incapacitated him and changed his life forever. And the video shows he was indeed in a disoriented state while being filmed and laughed at. The toll this period took on Q's mental health and his career isn't disputed though. He went from a #1 charting artist with a bright future to someone dealing with serious mental illness and the dissolution of his music career, whether that's the result of intentional harm, a tragic misunderstanding, or something in between. Only those who were in that room truly know. Q is now 37 years old, still in therapy, and still speaking out about what he says happened to him. With Diddy behind bars until 2028, the broader conversation about power, exploitation, and accountability in the music industry continues. For Q, the damage was done years ago, and no trial or conviction will give him back the career or the peace of mind he says he lost at Bad Boy Records. All he has now is his voice and his determination to make sure people know his story, even if the full truth remains elusive.